Today I'm going to go into a process with myself, just the same way I do it with my clients. Obviously it's a little bit different. It's something that I've practiced many years, but it's also something that you can do at home. You can start practicing it too. It's also the way I work with my clients. So I've been processing a lot of sexual trauma from age 4 in the past couple of weeks. And I've been noticing like my body is like having like reactions. I've been noticing my dream world has been interesting and kind of like feeling like it's all related to this trauma that I'm like currently processing. I joined a women's group last weekend, and I had a really deep process in that women's group around that kind of like brought up a lot of stuff. And then I did another process on my own, which I may share about in the future, but it's still kind of like raw. I wanted to come on here because I've been feeling like some kind of pain in the left side of my womb, which a lot of things that came up for me, especially in my dreams, is things around my like family line from my mother's side. From like a lot of lineage stuff, ancestral stuff from my mother's side, especially the women in that side of the family. If you don't know, usually the left side is the mother's side or the feminine, the right side is the father's side or the masculine. So having this coming up in the left side of my womb around the time that I'm processing sexual trauma, it feels something very ancestral that I am processing currently. I've been kind of working with it a little bit, and it moved from the left side of my womb to my left hip. So now it was way more horrible this morning. It was like almost unbearable. Now I'd say now it's like, maybe if it was like at 80%, now I feel like it's like maybe 40%. Because I was working this morning on this thing, and I also went to sleep last night with the intention of healing my body, because a lot of things kind of came up in my body, and I personally believe it's around this trauma. My body is like, the way I work with my physical body is like we're one, and if my body is like bringing something up to the surface, I know, okay, there's something here that my body needs from me. There's something here that my body wants me to look at. And also I have chills, so confirmation. But I also had a lot of dreams around, around in the past week, really, I'm talking about the past week. It started from things like a dream around my sexual trauma specifically, where I was sleeping and I felt like my upper body was like pinned down and my lower body was like floating in the air, and it felt kind of scary. It felt kind of dissociative. So I did some dream work with Robert Masters in the women's group, and that kind of like what came up, the thing from age 4, the sexual trauma. And then a lot of dreams after were around my mom, my grandmother, my grandparents' house from my mother's side, like a lot of things around like women, ancestral, womb, sexual, all of these like kind of like that realm. In this, basically, I'm gonna lay on this bed and I'm gonna walk myself through the process, and you're just gonna witness me. And I honestly don't even know what's gonna come up. I never know what's gonna come up. Even when I work with clients, it's like never know. It can go into thousands, millions of different directions. So yeah, let's see. This morning, I had a lot of, it felt like huge chunk of black stuff. It felt like it, and it was all the way from the left side of my womb to my hip. So I was like moving it around, like pushing it down, just kind of tracking it all the way from my left foot. I usually actually don't like to do it when I work with clients. I usually prefer to like get to know the sensation or the pain that's in like really kind of creating a relationship with that pain, get to know it and see what it has for me. But this morning, because last night during my dreams, I felt like I've been working a lot around you know, this my body and like what's been coming up, I felt like what I had left in the morning, it was like leftovers that I had to kind of clean out of my system. And so now it's not next to my womb now anymore, it's more in my left hip. Like it's really kind of, I feel like it's kind of like a small piece of it is like stuck in my left hip. I don't believe in like aggressively trying to take it out. So I'm just gonna go into a process and getting to know it and see what it has for me, and just see if there's anything that comes up. So I'm trying first of all to identify kind of like where do I feel the pain. So I'm like noticing most of it starts in the hip. It's like it feels like an oval, but not like a thin oval. It feels like a pretty thick oval. And then there's like almost like some traces that are going to my left thigh, like at the top. And it feels like dark blue color, where the traces kind of become like a smoke, almost like a gray smoke or something. Let's see, what's the texture? The texture feels pretty smooth, where earlier it was more like chunky, like rocks, and now it feels more like a smooth rock, almost like dark blue rock or something. I'm noticing that what's coming up in my body toward it is, the first thing that came to mind is hatred. Like I hate it. I want it to get away from me. And at this point, I'm just noticing what's arising. Of course, you know, it's just kind of giving space to whatever is arising in me. So I'm imagining I'm sitting on a little bench next to this dark blue rock. I'm sitting on a little bench next to it, and I'm trying to feel its energy. I'm trying to feel what's the vibe I'm getting from this rock. And what I'm getting right away is like cold, like stoic. You know how like you say about people like you have a heart of ice, like basically like you don't have feelings. So that's kind of like how I feel from this like rock. I'm noticing some like tightness coming up in it's a little bit below my solar plexus. It feels like some type of nervousness, but it's not like pure nervousness. It feels like nervousness with like nausea or something. It feels like a mix of those two. What I'm noticing now actually is that it's gone. Like I don't feel it anymore. I'm finding myself like doubting, like, do I not feel it anymore? Yeah, I definitely feel like it's kind of cleared. It feels more light around here. And I do want to say, like, a lot of times when I work with clients, just the acknowledgement of what's arising in the body and just kind of like seeing it and being with it and looking at it, it's kind of creating a shift, if that makes sense. But at this point, I'm just really trying to, what we're doing, like I mentioned in the beginning, is to like build relationships with those things that are arising in my body, and just kind of get to know it and see what it has for me. So now what I'm going to shift into is I'm going to try to connect deeper with this blue rock. I'm going to ask it a few questions and communicate with it and start to receive guidance, insights, information from this pain. First of all, what I'm doing is I'm imagining sitting in this bench next to this sensation and really coming with an energy of I'm here and I want to get to know you, know what you need. I want to know everything that I need to know about you. Basically, in other words, I want to be in a relationship with you. Saying that, I feel some like softening on the front side of my left hip, but I do feel like it kind of moved more to the back side of my left hip. So the first question I'm gonna ask it is, why are you here? The first thing I got, like, and I'm like, is it really, like, I'm still trying to like see if there's anything that else that's kind of like wants to come up. But the first thing I got before I even finished the sentence is like, you know, I'm here. And like doing this work for so long, I know that things are coming up in my body to teach me stuff, to show me stuff. So my next question for me would be, is there anything you'd like me to know? What I'm getting, and it's not like I usually, the way I receive things is more by like feeling. What's coming up for me, like the energy I'm getting off of it is, I want to be loved. I want you to love me. So I'm not really going into whether if I'm going to give it love or not, but it's, first of all, we're just like in beginning stages of building that relationship. So it doesn't mean that I'm already, like a second ago I hated it, right? So now I don't feel hatred toward it, but because there's definitely a relationship that starts to build up, but I'm starting to like soften. So it's like a process. It takes time. Sometimes it may be one session, sometimes it may be over the course of a few weeks or a few months, maybe years even. The next question I'm going to ask it is there anything you want to show me? So when I ask a question, I just want to kind of mention it. I'm not like looking or searching for an answer. I'm just kind of sitting back and see what's arising. And it could be an image that's going to come up, maybe a memory that's going to come up, maybe a word, a sentence, maybe a feeling. So the thing that's the most noticeable for me right now is, what I'm noticing is like some sensation in my right calf, like my right side, like my right leg. And it's interesting because I feel it like in the left side of my calf. Feels like a purple, energetic, kind of swirly thing, like that's like moving. That's what's coming up. So I'm kind of moving my attention from my left hip into my right calf. And I'm really trying to like feel its energy. So the energy I'm receiving from that swirly purple thing, first of all, I feel curiosity in my body towards that swirl purple thing. And the energy I'm getting off of it is like playful, but also shy, like almost like slippery, like hiding, like, but very playful, but like also afraid to be seen. Yeah, that feels true. Afraid to be seen. Okay, so here's a sentence for me. And I don't know how it works of doing it to myself, because bringing sentences to clients is, it's different. So I'm trying it on myself. I've never really done this before, but if that purple swirl could speak, it would say, get me out of here. Notice me. Notice me, don't notice me. I am giving you my full attention. It's interesting, like, this swirl purple thing, it goes from being like a tiny area on the left side of my calf. It feels like it's like expanding towards my hamstring basically, and it becomes a little green. It's like expansion energy to it. So I'm gonna ask it, is there anything you want to teach me? It's crazy because so many times like those things don't even make sense to me, and I'm like, it's like, it doesn't make sense. But it says, the message I'm getting is that I belong to your heart. It's interesting like what's happening Oh, that's interesting. I'm feeling like energy moving from my right calf, just flowing up into my heart. And so I want to see what else, if there's anything else. Is there anything else you would like me to know? It just like wants me to help it, you know, to support it and like to move the energy. So I'm just gonna kind of bring it up too. And honestly, if you're trying it at home, like even if you don't know how to do energy healing, I want to invite you to like do whatever feels good, like naturally, like whatever intuitively comes up. If it means to move your body in a certain way, move your hands in a certain way, vocalize in a certain way, it doesn't have to make sense. Like it's not for the brain. Let's put it like that. So I feel a lot of energy moving into my heart space, to my heart chakra. It's like, ooh, it feels like expansion. It feels like a piece just kind of coming back or something. Oh my gosh. Like my heart space feels so much energy in my heart space right now. I feel like if you could visualize energy, like just like spreading outward, like expanding. Like I feel like this green expansion to the sides, like sometimes like, you know, if it's trauma, if it's picking something up from others or the collective or whatever it may be, like that creates like our bodies being out of whack, if it's physical or energetic, then it's sometimes like actually way more simple than what it seems to actually kind of bringing the flow back or connect to a certain flow. I'm a big lover of visualization. It's so powerful. And I'm like visualizing that this purple part that like wants to be seen. I'm envisioning that it's almost like a little kid and I'm like the kid's mother, and I'm just holding it with both of my arms with the energy of I'm here with you, but I'm here with you, I see you, and you're not alone. It doesn't mean that you need to change or to be a certain way. You can just be you. And so the reason why I'm like, I want to bring it up, like I want to make a little note about it, because a lot of times, like, which I've actually done that a lot in the past, and it's like I'm gonna be with it and I'm gonna be present with it and give it love, but the underlying reason is like because I want it to go away, I want it to transmute. And it's just kind of weird, because imagine like you'll tell someone, like a human, you'll tell a human like, I love you so much and I'm here with you with whatever you need. And I say it because I want you to go away. So it's kind of an interesting thing to notice, like what's happening behind, because sometimes you may be with something and there's not necessarily a goal, but it's more about creating relationships and with all pieces and parts of yourself, so you can bring yourself back into alignment, so you can bring all these pieces back. Sometimes these pieces and parts, they take a while. Sometimes, it's not about where we're going, like what's the destination. It's about the process of creating that relationship, if that makes sense. And usually, again, it brings a lot of shifts in the physical body, in the energetic body, in the emotional body. Even if you do it with other people, where you're just kind of being with them, it brings shifts. But it's not the goal. It's not that you're doing it to expect the shifts. And if you're noticing that you are expecting a shift, then that's another thing to notice. It's another thing to notice and give that space to, if that makes sense. Oh, okay, so I feel, going back to my left hip, I felt like a sharp pain on the left hip, on the back. The next question that comes up for me is there any way I can support you right now or in the following days, weeks? The thing that comes up for me is unconditional love transmutes the pain. It keeps coming up to me, and it kind of connects with like the piece that he was asking for earlier, which is to be loved. My little girl is coming up. I'm noticing she's here, she's present. That's interesting. The image I have is that she's like, oh, she's sitting on the bench. She's sitting on the bench. The bench has like a back, where you lean on. And she's kind of sitting on the side and handing her hand toward the pain in my left hip. And she's just like holding its hand. And it's interesting that she came up because I still didn't feel like I could really connect with that part. I still feel some disconnection from it, but I feel very connected to my little girl. So it feels like she came up to like help me and support me in this. And so I'm holding her and she's holding that part, that pain. I'm noticing that my little girl was hesitant to get off the bench and go hug this part. She was hesitant for a few moments, and then she decided to go ahead and do it. And now she's giving it a hug. Oh, like what I'm noticing in me is that I feel so much love towards her, and how brave she is. She's so pure and loving. She doesn't have all these judgments and like stories in her mind, because she's probably around like age 6 right now. She's so friendly, and she's like, she wants to hang out with it under a tree and just like play with it. I'm just like so amazed by her. She feels really comfortable right now. She feels like at home, like she owns the place, That's the vibe I'm getting. And it like makes sense because I've done a lot of work to reconnect with her. There was times that she was so scared to get out of the closet when I first started to really connect with her. Now she's like, this is where I live. Oh, I have this tree. Let's go hang out by the tree. It's my tree. I'm taking it kind of like a little more further. Usually the process, like I said, it can go to like thousands of million directions, but so they're by the tree, and I was noticing like an animal that came, and I was like, was that a fox or a wolf? Fox or a wolf? Fox or a wolf? Is it a wolf? Yeah. So yeah, okay. A lot of times for me, and I'm sure like people are like in different, you know, it's different for everybody, but the way I get, like the way I know if something true is, but if I feel it. So I said fox and I said wolf, and when I said wolf, I was noticing more like feeling and sensations in my body. I feel like the wolf is just a protector in this moment. Which is really interesting because I had this experience at night. The most intense experience I had during sleep. I actually made a YouTube video about it, so I'll put it here above in the description below. But I saw like a wolf, like a very vivid image of wolf. And it feels like that same wolf. It's like a protector. It's interesting. So the part of me that was in my hip, that's still, I still feel it in my hip. It was like a rock before, and now it changed like forms. It shape-shifted to like an actual character, and it's like, it looks like almost like Bugs, you know, Bugs Bunny, and so he looks similar to Bugs Bunny, but he's more skinny and short, and he's like more bluish. At first, when she wanted to play with it under a tree, I was like, it was kind of blurry. What is this part that she's playing with? Like, it's kind of a blur to me, and now I'm seeing more like a bunny, like a tiny, skinny bunny or something like that. That's like stands on 2 feet, just like Bugs Bunny. It feels complete for me for now. My little girl is still going to stay and play with the bunny, and the wolf is still here. But again, I'm not like necessarily like looking for a solution at this moment. It's not the point of this. The point is to create relationship with a part of us that we're just not familiar with, and a lot of time we wanted that part to go away, or we hate that part, or we like afraid of that part. And so the idea is to like start create intimacy and relationship with that part. And you know, now I feel, I'd say, if before I felt hatred towards that part, now I feel like I'm happy that they're playing together. I feel like I'm supporting it, you know, like there's like this energy of like support. I'm supporting this, like encouraging it, you know, something along those lines. Okay, I did not expect that, but I just stood up and I didn't feel any pain in my left hip. Like no pain at all. I feel it's completely, yeah, it's completely gone. I don't feel anything. Maybe there's like 2% left or something like that, which is crazy because this morning it was horrible. So you see, I didn't expect for it to be healed or, you know, feeling good, but the focus for me was creating a relationship with the pain. And by me creating a relationship with the pain and with what's arising and what really listen and be with, then the shift kind of happened automatically. The focus was not to get the shift. The focus was to build a relationship. And I was like, I don't know if it's going to take me, maybe it's going to take a few days, maybe it's going to take a few weeks, but I just got up and was like, oh wow, it's gone. And that's usually, honestly, that's usually how it is. When I work with my clients one-on-one, that's usually how it is. It's like I come with an approach of like really giving it love, giving it space, be with it, get to know it, and then boom, the shift happens really fast. So if you feel curious, in the description below, I have my website and there's a client application form. I want to invite you to fill it out. If you feel called, if you feel interested, I would like to offer, if it's your first session, to the first session by donation. I just really like doing it. I don't know, it feels really good to be able to give back in a way that's like, really feeling into it. So I do in person or in Austin, Texas, or online. Actually, most of my clients are online. So if you feel called, I want to invite you to fill it out and then see if we're a good match. And also, I want to invite you to try it at home. Take this method that I just kind of walked through, which is going to be, first of all, you kind of tune in with your body and you feel like what's arising. It could be like just kind of tuning in with your body. If there's a physical pain, you can definitely work with that. But if there's energetic, if there's something emotional, something mental, it's all welcome for you to do it. So you basically go in there and you're really feeling into, let's say, either something physical like I just did, or if let's say there's something that's coming to you around codependency or self-worth or something like that, right? So the way you're going to do it, you're going to feel into your body and you say, I really want to feel in my body where do I feel this like lack of self-worth? Or if it's a physical pain, then it's pretty obvious. So then you kind of connect with the sensation and the part that's like in your body and like where do you feel it in your body or in your head, anywhere. And then you identify it. So color, texture, shape. And then you feel, what do you feel in your body toward that part? What's arising in your body toward it? Sometimes it'll be curiosity, sometimes numbness, sometimes hatred, sometimes fear, anxiety, resistance, whatever it may be. And the next step would be like sitting on a bench next to it and feeling its energy. What's the energy that you're getting off of that part? The next step is to start to communicate with it. And I mean, again, it could go like thousands of million directions. Like a lot of times there's going to be fear that's coming up or resistance or all these different things that kind of come up. It's not always like smooth, so just the idea is really to give space to whatever is here. If there's a resistance that comes up, if there's fear, anxiety, whatever, just giving that space. Almost like imagine if it's like a little kid and you're just really present with it and you listen to it. So giving it space, then you start asking questions. Questions can be, where did you come from? Why are you here? What do you want to teach me? What do you want to show me? How can I support you? Like you basically imagine as if it's like a person and you want to get to know that person. And you can kind of come up with your own questions, right? So really think about it. It's like a person that you're trying to build relationship with, that you're trying to really get to know that person and the depth of that person. So what are you going to ask, right? And then you can kind of see like where it's going to take you. A lot of times it's going to communicate with you in like sending a word, a sentence, an image, maybe a feeling in a different part of my body like I just had. Maybe there's a memory that's going to come up from childhood. Maybe there's an image that's going to come up from past life. Maybe there's something that's going to come up from previous generations. So you just kind of, obviously it's a little bit more complex, but it's kind of like the same idea. Just kind of be curious about like what's happening and giving it space, right? And if, fear is coming up, again, just giving it space and be with it. I really want you to try it. So please try it and let me know in the comments what you tried, how it was for you. I'm curious. But if you feel like you get to a place where you feel stuck, I would also appreciate if you share that with me. And, I would love to help too and support you in it, because this work, everybody can do it. and we can do it to ourselves too. And so, and of course it's different when you have someone that's guiding you through it, at least to get to a place where you really get it and you really get the hang of it. But even me, I sometimes feel like I need people to help me because I can't see everything from my perspective. And not that other people can see everything, but they can guide me to things that maybe are out of my lens, right? Where I'm seeing things from. Just let me know in the comments what you found helpful. What did you try? How was it for you? I would appreciate to hear back from you and get feedback. And if you feel like you want to expand your practice around the chakras, around healing, awakening, ancestral trauma, generational trauma, programming, society programming, generational programming, all these things that are, here. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and please like this video if you found it helpful. I would appreciate it.